Thank you guys so much for meeting with me today. It's great to know that Andy has such a wonderful support team in his corner.
How could this happen? I just don't understand why God would take my sweet grandson from us.
I can't imagine how hard this has been on you and your family, but my job and the rest of your team's job is to work with you and Andy to get him back to himself again. So the first thing I would like to talk to you about today is the facts about psychosis, as there can be a lot of misinformation out there. Can you tell me what you guys know about the symptoms Andy has been experiencing?
He's never going to be happy. He'll be haunted by voices for the rest of his days. Probably have to lock him in some psych ward. I just can't believe this is happening to us.
I can understand why you'd think that. The media doesn't do a great job of portraying psychosis. In fact, psychosis affects 3 out of 100 individuals. What psychosis really means is that someone has lost contact with reality. But like other illnesses, psychosis is treatable.
I know that people with psychosis hear voices that tell them to do things.
You are correct. Some individuals experiencing psychosis do have that experience. But psychosis can present in different ways depending on the individual. Some of the hallmark symptoms are delusions or odd or unusual beliefs not based in reality, hallucinations or sensing things that are not there, and disorganized thoughts and behaviors, or difficulty with thinking clearly and expressing oneself, and attention and memory difficulties.
He is also very depressed and anxious. He never wants to see his friends anymore.
You're right, Marissa. Depression, anxiety, and social withdrawal are all common in psychosis. In addition, some individuals with first episode psychosis experience other symptoms such as thoughts of suicide, declines in social functioning, and disorganized behavior and negative symptoms. Let me explain what I mean by disorganized behavior and negative symptoms. Disorganized behavior might include things like jerky or unpredictable movements, or remaining completely still for extended periods of time. Negative symptoms include things like lack of motivation and energy, not experiencing pleasure, and are being emotionally flat.
I feel like this is all my fault.
Psychosis is nobody's fault. While many theories exist, we still don't really know exactly what causes it or for whom. It appears that it could be a combination of biological factors coupled with responses to stress, drug abuse, or social changes in already vulnerable individuals. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the stress vulnerability model. According to the stress vulnerability model, psychosis has a biological basis, the same way some people are more likely to get diabetes or heart disease. The biological vulnerability is sort of like a glass partially full of water. This is different for every person. Some people have more water, some people have less. But if we keep adding stressors to the mix, eventually the water is going to overflow and symptoms will emerge. Does that make sense?
So my dad leaving us and Andy getting bullied at school made him overflow?
My brother-in-law was schizophrenic.
Both important points. Psychosis is more likely when close relatives have been diagnosed with a psychiatric condition such as schizophrenia. Fortunately, there are things we can do to decrease the power of biological vulnerability. Research supports that the biggest influences on biological vulnerability are taking prescribed medications, avoiding drugs and alcohol, and taking care of physical health. And Lucas, you bring up a great point. It does sound like some major stressors. Can you guys think of any other stressors, either current or past, in Andy's life?
Well, money has been very tight since Dad left. Mom's been working 2 jobs so we don't lose our house, and I'm sure Andy has seen the late bills.
Great points. All those things can be very stressful. Similar to the way we can reduce the impact of biological vulnerability, there are many things we can do to reduce stress in Andy's life. Some of the most important factors are engaging in meaningful activities, having relationships with supportive people, stress management strategies, developing coping strategies for when symptoms are present, and keeping family conflict low. Now I want to spend some time talking about the course of first episode psychosis and what treatment will look like. I'm so glad that Andy has his family involved in treatment and that you guys got him involved in treatment earlier. That's predictive of the best outcome. People who undergo treatment can get better with therapy, medication, and support from their families.